Hello, my name is Bubble, and I sometimes go by the name of Simon, and this is a thoughts video. This video is a thoughts video on a game that came out in 2012. Well, the Kickstarter for it was 2012. This roughly came out at the end of that year, so 2013. So I guess in board game terms, this would be considered old age. I mean, a lot of times a game that's only been out for a year is already considered quite old. Great Western Trail, which is one of my favorites, is pretty old right now. I mean, that's basically having a midlife crisis, and this got announced a new expansion. So why am I looking at this? Well, basically because I played it, and I really liked it. So, Dogs of War came out, and this was done by CMON. CMON are notoriously known for their zombicides and their arcade quests, but they typically do miniature games, and they typically do American trash games that don't really have decent rules going for them. They are fun to play casually, but if you're a serious hardcore gamer, their best bet is going to be maybe looking at something like Blood Rage or Rising Sun. Fingers crossed if that's going to be good. But this came out 2012 when CMON was still really known for just being a miniatures game. So this didn't really do that well, but you can still find it around today, and I think it's still actually in print, because the big thing about this game is it is good. So the basic premise is you are a soldier for hire, a dog of war, and you are going to be sending your troops out to support these various houses. Each house is going to do battle against another house, and there's going to be a total of 3 battles over a course of 4 ages. So you're essentially going to have 12 battles that you're going to be taking part in, and you can obviously choose which house you want to support. But if you support the same house often enough, you will get shields, and shields will get you victory points based on if the house is winning. That's the basics of it. On your turn, you're simply going to take one of your generals, put it down on a spot. You claim that spot's reward, which might be to give you shields of that house, or it might be to give you a new soldier, or it might be to get you another general, or it might just be victory points, or it might just be coins. Coins allow you to buy mercenaries or soldiers at the beginning of each round. There's a lot going on in this game. At the start of the round, you're deciding, well, should I go risky? Should I be bold? If I pick up a knight, I can use certain action spaces, which will give me a really good reward, but then that might not be a house that I want to support in that war. Likewise, all your friends are also buying up soldiers, and they're going to be paying interest in what are you buying up. Because if you're buying up a lot of small units, so maybe you buy up 5 footmen, which only increase the battle by 1, then they're going to feel like the bullies, because they can easily push you out and maybe take over a spot. Not take over a spot, but essentially they're not going to be worried about you when you're trying to win a battle. But maybe you don't want to win battles. Maybe you just want to get your victory points by going to victory point places, and you don't really care about the houses. But you can't do that because the houses are going to be worth so much value. But then at the same time, buying a knight's very expensive. That's like 5 coins, and you only get 3 coins each round. So you have to make a decision of, do you invest into that knight, which will get you something good, but then it might not be a house that you want to, or you might play it too early in a round so then people can see and you're essentially showing your hand too soon. There's a lot of interesting choices that come out of this game, and this essentially is a worker placement game with a sort of area control theme to it. You are essentially going to send out your workers and get yourself items, essentially gold, again, victory points, or more soldiers. But the choices of which houses you support is interesting as well, because at the start of the game you get secretly dished out a card which will make, say, your allegiances to a certain house, and so if that house gets more victory points, you get more victory points for that house. But at the same time, you might have your first round and that house loses everything, and so they don't get any points. Essentially, they might even go down points, which means those points are going to be worth negative points at the end of the game. So now you have to start making decisions. Do you continue to try and push this house up the track? At the same time, you have 3 other people, or 4 other people, because it can go up to 5 players, who are all trying to do relatively the same thing for their houses. But you can switch houses at any point, because your house's allegiances are just shields. So you could say have 2 shields in the yellow house, and then you could have 5 shields in the red house. But you started off being supportive of the yellow house because you had those 2 shields. So your allegiances change over time based on the flow of battles. if one house is racing ahead by, say, round 3, and they're going to be giving 3 victory points, then essentially you might want to be tagging onto the house. But then you have more choices, because you see, if you can get a lot of people to invest into that house and then, say, go on the opposite side and go support the house that is fighting them, you can essentially, if you dominate that battle, you can knock that house down a peg and make those points worth less. And here's the crucial bit. I love games that have a mechanic that disappears out of nowhere. So, for example, Sheriff of Nottingham. Sheriff of Nottingham is a wonderful line and bluffing game, but you play it the first time and people instantly kind of get into this role of being a scummy merchant, and they almost role play as that. So the mechanic of role playing is not in Sheriff of Nottingham, but the game that seems to almost create the atmosphere of doing role play. Likewise, Twilight Imperium tends to have negotiation built into the game, and that's commendable. But here in Dogs of War, there's no reason for you to negotiate, but you just feel like you want to. You will threaten people if they support a house that is going against you. You will basically beg people to try and come to your aid, because it's going to give them more points. Of course, it's going to give you more points, but you don't want to tell them that. But it's wonderful how this game creates a sense of negotiation purely out of the gameplay itself. The gameplay is simple. You're essentially just going to pick a spot and put a soldier there and increase the battle score either way. And that's it. But there's so much tension that's created just by which army people do you play, how much power you want to give to a house. Do you want to overly win a battle? And then you have tactics cards. Tactics cards which can not wildly swing a battle in your favor, but can be basically the killing blow to basically scuttle everyone's plans. There are cards that allow you to switch sides. So normally you kind of restricted to one house in a battle, but if you want to, you can just betray them. And all of a sudden now you have another general working for the other side. And if your general dies off, then the other general's going to get points for that. That's brilliant. Or you could maybe say for forfeit an award for obviously putting your general on a spot, but then you get like +3 or +5 to the battle point track. That's fantastic. And then you could just be like, well, I'm going to put my soldier there, but I'm not going to gain any awards because this tactic card says that if I don't, then I can get like +7. It gets so crazy. Or you can just say, I'm not going to put any battle points into this, and I'm going to play tactics cards to get me double the reward for the action space. That's brilliant. I'm so surprised that this game hasn't been better received. It's been well received by critics, but it feels like it flies on under a lot of board gamers' radars simply because it's made by Cormier Art, and it came at a time when this really wasn't their speciality. Don't get me wrong, this is a very overproduced game. You know, you essentially have these generals which are miniatures, or these kind of bust miniatures that the game simply does not need. You have this wonderful card illustration art. I must say, like, I don't particularly like the steampunky theme, but it does come across really nicely in this game. The card art for the different footmen and obelisks and knights and your war machines are so lovely just to look through. I kind of wish the same attention to detail was applied to tactic cards as well, because those are simply just almost a white card with a italicized font, and that's not particularly exciting. But then you have plastic miniatures for the banners of each houses. The card quality is wonderful, and then even the cardboard quality is also really, really good. This is a really well produced game, and what's surprising is you can go online now and get this game for like $30, which is really cool. I will say one of the downsides, of course, is it is CMON. It was a Kickstarter, which means there are Kickstarter exclusives, and if you want to get those, you probably are out of luck at this point. Again, this game came out in the end of 2012. You might still be able to pick one up, but it kind of does not ruin the game. You still have 6 really good, strong general houses to use. But if you get like the Kickstarter exclusives, that's another like 4 houses you can potentially, not houses, but 4 factions you can potentially use in the game, and every single faction has a special ability. And that's great asymmetry, because in one game, you might find that someone's abilities seem so strong and so broken, but then in the next game, you play with that ability and you think, oh well, how the hell did he manage to make it work so well? This game is lovely. easy to learn. There's not a lot of difficult choices we made, but the choices that you do make are so rewarding for what you do. There's a wonderful sense of narrative and negotiation that this gets created purely out of nowhere, but it lends itself so well to the game. It makes everyone feel like it's a good time. And of course, you can buy it now for relatively cheap. I have to say, if you're looking for a game that's slightly off the cuff, but fits the role of maybe area control and worker placement, this is definitely one to pick up. It is a really, really good and really solidly designed game. I just think if this came out in 2017 or 2018 now, that this would probably be maybe on people's top 10 list for the year. I think different outlets would absolutely rave about this. And it's just kind of a sad thing that this game almost came out before its time. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Dogs of War. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you have some thoughts on Cool Mini or Not's exclusive deals that kind of limit you in terms of what you can get out of the full experience. Maybe you are fully supportive of that, but let me know. As always, if you, of course, enjoyed this video, leave a like. And, of course, if you want to keep seeing more stuff coming out on my channel, then hit the subscribe button just down below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.